Hey folks, my name's Dan Fedor. I'm the main developer on Ostranauts and the owner of Blue Bottle Games. I wanted to do a quick devlog today to talk to you basically about the big picture of what's going on with Ostranauts, with Blue Bottle Games, where we've been, what we're up to now, some of the things ahead, and then probably deep dive into some of the more specific changes we're working on right now. Um, so big news in recent history, of course, the 0.14 across the system launch and our partnership with Kitfox. Both of those happened in September. 14 milestone, by all accounts, players seem to really like it. The new modular reactors, long range travel, being able to go to Venus. Players seem to be really enjoying those features. Veteran players are enjoying that there's now more sort of late game content to get at, more things to do, I guess. And then on the Kitfox side, that's been going very well. The partnership has been quite fruitful. They've brought a ton of new players into the game. They all seem to be enjoying it as well. A lot of good audience crossover there. That's translated into better sales. So of course that makes Blue Bottle Games healthier and hopefully better able to finish making Ostranauts and put what we want into it. But of course, 14 was such a big update that it came with its own share of bugs, and the game has bugs already. So that has sort of turned us towards what we're calling the hardening phase. So what is a hardening phase? We think of it as a time to fix bugs that are found in the game, optimize performance for people who are experiencing like frame rate issues, UI and user experience issues, general quality of life improvement for our players. And we've decided we need to do that now rather than at the end. And the thinking there is, first of all, people have the game now, they're playing it. We want them to enjoy it now. We don't want them to wait forever for those fixes or improvements. And on top of that, if we're going to build another milestone with significant features and content in it, it makes sense to build it in a more final form of the game rather than building it on something that's going to change out from underneath it and then we have to do it again. What about what we're doing right now? Well, in the hardening phase, I think probably the most visible change is going to be to the HUD, sort of the main UI of the game. So immediately you'll notice a number of changes, especially along the bottom of the screen. We've put the date down at the bottom right. The message log is down in the middle, since that's kind of the most important game world information, things that are changing. We've recently changed the lower left-hand corner so that in addition to seeing your stat bars, you can switch it to crew view and you'll see cards for each of your crew members and sort of top line stats about, if they're in danger or having trouble with something. And it lets you sort of jump between your crew members a little bit more easily. The action buttons that were previously at the bottom are no longer there. They now appear right where you click in the world, which is a little bit more like any operating system or game that you probably played elsewhere. And then if the user wants to, they can kind of move that anywhere on the screen and just pin it there, and then just keep them there all the time. And you can kind of customize that action menu to expand or collapse or filter it. So hopefully that is, I guess, more intuitive to especially a new player coming in. We have item value information now in the top right-hand corner. When you select an object, it would tell you a bunch of things about the object. And it will now also tell you relative value of this if you wanted to know which is worth salvaging and not, especially for new players. The PDA on the left, we slimmed down a bit so it's just the buttons and not that protruding frame when it's closed. It'll still appear when you expand it to look at all your apps, but while it's closed, it no longer blocks your view. You can middle mouse drag to pan around the scene. The objectives on the lower left-hand corner are a little bit smoother to work with now, and you can right-click to dismiss them instead of, finding a little button in the corner. And there's a new one for, similar to the way you get a proximity alarm, there's one for whether you might be committing a potential crime, because a lot of people were getting tripped up by that. tooltips on as much as we can, including new tooltips over characters. If you hover over a character, you can kind of see what they're up to, what they might do next. Generally, better understanding what your AI is doing. The escape menu had a bunch of work done to it. Quit straight to the desktop. We've added a button which isn't ready yet, but we're holding a space for basically loading the game directly from while you're in a game instead of having to go to the main menu. Some options there for whether the game automatically saves when you quit it, and then a link to the Steam guide, which is another sort of large undertaking of ours to help onboard new players. So there's this Steam guide, both on Steam, you can get it through the game in the escape menu, and it's sort of like a handheld tour for somebody who kind of wants to see, like, here's all the steps a new game would take, maybe the first half hour and a half of gameplay, which is, it's there if you want it, but some people prefer tutorials, some people prefer just figuring it out on their own. Let's see, 4K and ultra wide, there were a number of issues reported, especially like small text or unclickable areas. Those should be fixed now. Zones can now be edited. You can add to and subtract from zones. Things like the combat, the tackle move are a little bit more intuitive and fluid. Using batteries, there were some confusing sort of in and output arrows on batteries, which should be a little bit, we took out the one that wasn't really doing anything so that it's less confusing, and made reactors charge all of your batteries instead of arbitrarily for them. Autopilot is now working for damaged reactors. It was previously just dumping you in space. Bunch of performance optimizations, things like the periodic hitching or frame rate or excessive memory usage. We've been trying to fix as many of the causes of that as possible. And a bunch of bug fixes, things like the lost atmosphere bug on ships. The trade window now remembers your scroll position when you expand a row. Mortgage and finance screen now has fewer issues or like missing information on it. The police should be a little bit more reliable. There was a number of both pilot and police officer AI bugs that were causing glitches. Things like purchasing the ships are a little more reliable now. Generally making the game more enjoyable so that the player doesn't focus on issues and they're just having fun. But yeah, that's what we've been up to. We are thrilled that people are enjoying the game. We love seeing you play it. We love hearing the feedback that you have. And please keep playing. Please keep letting us know, what you like, what you don't like. And we look forward to making more cool stuff for you. Thanks for your time.